My name is Will Harper, and I'm the director for Sensitive: The Untold Story, a story that featured rock star and highly sensitive person Alanis Morissette. In 2020, we celebrated the 25th year of the international bestseller, The Highly Sensitive Person, written by the distinguished clinical psychologist Dr. Elaine Aron. And then we honored the year of the highly sensitive man, a subject that is close to my heart. Today, Dr. Tracy Cooper and I are producing the first and long overdue documentary focused on highly sensitive men. We call it Sensitive Men Rising. This radically inclusive story of highly sensitive men is an independent documentary, a must-see and spirited film for all mankind. We recently conducted a global Zoom town hall to help raise funds to complete this emotionally poignant and vital film. Please take a look and listen to some of the compelling reasons that people are making their contributions and investments for this film to make a difference around the world.
Time for us just to come before you and to hold this open session and just to have a discussion about the movie Sensitive Men Rising, the documentary, and to gather your input as well and to see what your experiences are and what you think about this movie.
I think this is an absolutely needed movie.
I think this documentary is really good, but I think that sensitive men are likely to have the answer to domestic violence. They are deep thinkers and they can influence other men to speak, to feel, and to solve.
Identity development and gender socialization experiences of highly sensitive men. And I work with highly sensitive men, and also oftentimes I'm the one telling them about the trait and helping them understand that this is a thing. And I think just the power of this film being out there, so people can know that the thing is super powerful. So very excited.
I'm delighted that you guys are doing this. It's something I think that really the times call for it, as you were saying. But is this movie about reaching out to people generally about this trait, or is it to try to talk to highly sensitive men about understanding and educating them about the trait, and then also helping them to embrace it? Because I think that's one of the biggest problems right now, as you've mentioned, is that men may be aware of it, but it's a real difficult thing to stand up in front of a group of men and say, hey, I'm a highly sensitive man and I'm proud of it. We've just got a cultural issue here about that. And it goes really, I think, across all cultures to some extent.
That's correct.
That men are really afraid to step up and embrace this.
Will and I and some of the other men that are working in this field, we've come to embrace it in a way that we know the worth and the value of it. And that's why we work to communicate this to other men and to less sensitive people and to women as well. So this movie really is going to be radically inclusive of many different viewpoints so that we can touch something in every person that sees it.
I feel insecure often because this is how I feel every day. Like, I don't have points of contention or a goal besides trying to leave this place in a better place than when I got here, because every day is hard for me, and because I embrace being an HSP. It's just exhausting. I know why I'm dealing with anti-Black racism and homophobia, difficulty trying to get housing. I'm 35 years old. I've done everything I'm supposed to do with an illness. And so then I see the lack of sensitivity for people who live with disabilities and sicknesses and diseases that are HSP and end up with opioid addictions and things like that. So that ties into being a man often as well. It's coming from Black folks who didn't have many resources, and as a country, we didn't support our veterans and still don't. So all of that ties into being a HSP person that identifies as a man and has experienced the world as a little dark-skinned Black boy from Kansas City who wore everybody out from being so sensitive. Like, I'm just like, I can't do that. It's too much. It's too much. And it was true, and it's still too much. And so what are we doing to also heal? Like, what about those of us who have, like, we know, but we also are in a dire need of healing? So thank you.
That's what this film is about. Within the context of the film,
we're going to give tools. And that's part of it. It's to expose the trait. It's not just fluff. There'll be a lot of information in it to make you go deeper. So what is that called? Deep diving. We want some deep diving here.
The first movie, Sensitive Untold Story, was communicating the science, communicating the story of how we came to understand sensory processing sensitivity as a separate personality trait. Elaine's story of how she came to be involved in that study, and then kind of serving a broad territory across relationships, careers, that kind of thing. This one has the benefit of being able to stand on the shoulders of these previous movies. So we can really take our time as a true documentary and allow the stories to tell themselves, hoping that and believing that when people watch this that are sensitive, perhaps sensitive men, they will be inspired by the many, many different stories that they see from sensitive men. And a big part of what we're doing is shattering myths about what sensitive men are. There's stereotypes and cliches about sensitive men, about being weak or being fragile or being soft in some way. So we want to shatter those myths. 30% of us are high sensation seeking. We like to do things that are novelty, and we like new experiences, and some of us are thrill seekers even. And we're involved in all different career fields, right? And we're involved in leadership positions like you wouldn't imagine. And we are healers and leaders, and some of the greatest people throughout history, some of the most memorable figures have been highly sensitive men. So highlighting some of that and communicating in that way that sensitivity is a strength that's been with us the entire time that we've been a species. As an evolved trait, high sensitivity has been there to serve as a slight advantage, as an advantage on the average. And it still serves that purpose in a modern age, only in a slightly different context. So we want the film to really stand as a way as an entry point for sensitive men and less sensitive people to come to appreciate that, so that they can do exactly what you're saying. So they can come into an ownership of it, a pride in it, and an ability to say, I'm highly sensitive, so what? Look what I can do.
So I'm a highly sensitive person. And I struggle with that terminology, the highly sensitive part, because I think a lot of people misunderstand that sensitivity aspect, and I've seen a lot of people discuss that. But when you add the sensation-seeking component to it, so what that means is I seek out the challenges of life. So, I've been a mountaineer, I've been a commercial diver, a sport diver, I ride adventure motorcycles, and I seek that thrill, not as an adrenaline rush, but as an educational aspect. So I'm trying to push my own boundaries of this term overwhelmed to a new level. And what I found over the years is that by doing that, it's allowed me to control that ability of being overwhelmed a lot more. Now, with that being said, I still get overwhelmed greatly by harsh people, cruelty of the world. I cannot, no matter what I do, cannot seem to manifest some sort of control over that. So I separate myself from it. But when it comes to other physical challenges, and I listening to the one gentleman speak about the alpha male, and I commented, we can definitely be alpha males, but in our own sense. And we have a better ability to think, we have a better ability to rationalize. And so I've been in situations, literally, where I've saved lives because of my HSP. And the people that I were with were not HSPs, and they just fell apart, literally fell apart. And it was because I had that ability to think rationally, think quicker, that we all survived. And so high sensation seeking HSPs are a unique ability, and I think that's something that needs to be brought to life.
And no illusions about this movie. This movie can save lives.
It can save lives. That's the whole point. But you don't realize how many people are suffering out there. That's the other thing we forget as human beings. Like, we're here. Why? We're here for a reason. We're here to move humanity forward. Who better but men and women who are highly sensitive, who are able to actually understand and feel the pain and things that other people have, right? And that's why we're here, you know. And if we think we're here for some other reason, well, we're wrong. We're here to reduce suffering and help people reach a potential as human beings, because you are the people, the highly sensitive people that can help change the world.
So we need all your help. Anybody you guys know that can help us to complete it and that can bring any resources, emotional resources, financial resources to help us complete the project, or philanthropists and people that care about it. We need your help, and we love you guys.
Well, my call to action is, it's difficult to do a film like this where we're trying to speak for all the sensitive men of the world, be radically inclusive of men from around the globe. And we're going to do our best to find representatives from sort of every area, every region. And that's a huge undertaking for us. And we're shoestringing it right now. We're really trying to make it happen on our own every way we can. And we'll keep doing that, but we need all the help we can get for sure.
And thank all of you from around the world for your kind-hearted participation. And thank you newcomers for considering to support the advancement of humankind.